where we give you the tools you need to have the life and career you deserve. I'm Kailei Carr, your host, and I'm actually recording this live. Well, not really live, but I'm recording this via video as well as obviously the audio for the podcast, so that you guys can see me if you'd like. Oftentimes, I'm recording the podcast and you don't see me, so I don't know. Who knows? I might do more of these podcasts that you can actually see me, see some of the people that I am interviewing, and all of that great stuff to bring a little bit more to the podcast as we are rounding out our third season of Beyond the Business Suit. Now, season 3. Has been pretty good. No, season 3 has been amazing. Let's just say that. Season 3 has been amazing. But season 1 was like over 2 years long, maybe over 3 years long. I can't remember. It wasn't until a couple of years ago that I started doing seasons. So although we are in our 159th episode, can you believe that? And rounding out our 5th year. So we will be hitting 5 years old in September. I wanted to record this episode as we're rounding out this season because there's some things I just want to share. Where do I begin? So this season of Beyond the Business Suit has been under the theme Pause, Recharge, Level Up, which was also the theme of the first Beyond the Business Suit retreat that we launched back in March of this year, and it was just incredible. And I wanted to record this podcast to be, or this episode, because it was time for me to be transparent with you. I needed to come clean, y'all. I needed to come clean because I have to say that I have been paralyzed by, to a certain extent, by the experience of the Beyond the Business Suit retreat. The retreat was incredible. It was transformational. It was everything that I expected for it to be, everything that I envisioned it to be, everything that the team and I set out for it to be. And it was also overwhelming. It wasn't only overwhelming from the magnitude of the work, which, thank God, I had the most amazing team of women and a couple of guys too, including my husband, who was there for the home stretch, and our photographer, David Herring, who was the only man in the room until my husband got there during the retreat. But we had an amazing group of women who helped to plan this effort leading up to it, which certainly made it manageable. And honestly, there's no way it could have been the success it was without them. Hands down, no way. But what was truly the most overwhelming was the magnitude of the transformation. And again, this is what I envisioned. This is what was placed on my heart. This was a vision that God gave me that I knew that I had to be obedient to and birth. And seeing it in action was almost debilitatingly overwhelming because I could feel the weight of the calling that I received. I've been doing this work for 5 years, over 5 years. I've been doing this podcast for almost 5 years. And this has been an evolution for me. It's been a journey. I've gone through my own transformation and evolution. And I'm still in it, y'all. I'm still in it. And so if you go back to some of those early episodes of Beyond the Business Suit, you'll see I was figuring it out. I think that I was doing valuable work. I was sharing tips and insights and interviewing some amazing women and people who I know that many of you have learned from. And I was evolving at the same time. And it just goes to show that when you are doing work that you feel that you've been called to do, and especially in this entrepreneurship journey, you have to do the work. You have to put one foot in front of the other and keep going, because you never know what it may lead to. In the beginning, I was doing image consulting. I was doing personal branding work. I was doing digital presence work and focusing on the external. And I realized, and I've said this on some episodes before, but I realized that I can make somebody look the part, or I can help them look the part. I can give them the tools that they need to show up as great leaders. But if they're not grounded within themselves, then there's only so far I can take them. Something that I've learned about myself recently, not even recently, something that I'm owning more of is my ability to, or really my gut, my intuition. And because I see this, the work that I do is life's work and calling work, and work that is leveraging every strength, superpower, and experience that I've ever had. Doing that work, I am able to connect with people on a almost like a cellular, or as I like to call it, I had said this recently, a cellular level. Like, I'm in sessions, I am in, whether it's a one-on-one session or my Emerge Academy sessions or workshops, where I have been able to connect with people and become a vessel for God to speak through me. So this has been a journey. And I know you may be listening to this like, what is Kailei on? What is she talking about? And honestly, with today's episode, I don't have a script. I don't have an outline. I will share with you some things that are written. So I won't read them verbatim, but at least I have some guides for some information that I want to share with you. But as we are in this last episode of this season, I really wanted to have a conversation with you. I wanted to talk to you about this journey that I'm on. I wanted to talk to you about how Beyond the Business Suit is evolving. I want to share with you where I'm seeing it go and the responsibility I feel as a result of the Beyond the Business Suit retreat and the work I continue to do, as well as be transparent as to some of the things that I have been experiencing and why, for instance, the podcast episodes have been, few and far between since February or March, because it's important to be honest about this journey. And what I found is, as you go through and you're doing faith walks and trying to be obedient to callings, for those of us who feel like we're doing purpose work and we're called to do something greater than ourselves, fear does peek and rear its ugly head. I mean, I teach about confidence. I teach about getting past fear, and yet I am still human and I still experience it myself. One of my favorite books on this topic is Playing Big by Tara Moore. If you have not read that book, you have to read it. I even interviewed Tara on an episode of Beyond the Business Suit. I'll link that to the notes for this podcast episode. But she talks about hiding, and how oftentimes when we are facing fear and experiencing fear, we hide, we do things to not do what we are supposed to do. And sometimes we stop in our tracks, and that's what I've been feeling. And not to say that I haven't been busy, because I have. Like, let me tell you, after after the retreat, we had the retreat on the Beyond the Business retreat on March 15th and 16th. My daughter had her birthday on March 25th that we had family in town for. Then she had her adenoids removed, so she had surgery thereafter. And then I had a week and a half that next week where I was on the road. I had 3 back-to-back speaking engagements in different cities after that. And then we graduated the second cohort of the Emerge Academy, and I had more speaking engagements that were out of town. And it's I've been doing a lot of work, so I haven't been debilitated and frozen from work. What I have been working through is getting past the paralyzation, or the paralyzation, is that a word? Paralysis of the aftermath and the assignment that I had as a result of what I experienced and what the women at the Beyond the Business retreat experienced while there. So I know that I haven't done an episode about this, so I wanted to share with you what the experience was for those of you who were not there. We had about, I think total, we had 77 women of color, mostly Black women, who joined us in the Atlanta area. We had a lakefront property where we went deep. As you know, the theme was pause, recharge, level up. On that first day, we kicked it off with some fun. We had massages and a meditation room. We had yoga. We had it was raining, so people couldn't go out on the walking trails, but we really wanted people to arrive and pause. I believe that you can't get to leadership development and personal development and professional development until you first have the right foundation. And I wholeheartedly believe, and I've learned, that that foundation is set by, one, getting centered and being mindful, being present. So that's where the pause came in. And then also by elevating your vibration, your energy, accessing joy, getting in a positive frame of mind so that you're receptive to the learnings that come from leadership development and professional development. So we had those pauses, right? Then we kicked it off with, and we had some sessions where people could select one of 4 coaches to work with for immersive sessions. So we had Marla Teolia, who's been on the podcast a couple of times. We had Radaya Rhodes, who's also been on the podcast. We had Jovian Zane, who has not been on the podcast yet, but she will. And we had Michelle Wansley Ford, who has also not yet been on the podcast, but are all 4 amazing coaches. And in those sessions, they went deep with the people there who were in their sessions, and they had smaller groups where they talked about their values, their core values, their beliefs, what they needed to let go of, what they needed to attract more of. And at the end of those 3-hour sessions, we all came back together in the amphitheater that was on site outside. And we had what was considered, people talked about it being almost like a baptismal experience, where what the women wrote down as to the things they wanted to release, what they didn't know is that the paper they wrote those things down on it was dissolvable paper. And they went to the lake, they walked to the lake and released those things. And we were playing India Arie, I Am Light, and there was so much emotion, tears, releasing energy out. It was indescribable, palpable, the energy that was there. It was a cleansing experience. And I knew that that had to happen first in order for us to be prepared for what was to come the next day. That night we had a fun dance party. We had a DJ and some fun mocktails and just had a great time together. We're dancing and just having a great time. So that was the first day. The second day was our level up day. So we came to level up. We heard from, we had a meditation to start the day with Marla Teolia. We had Ekene Onu, who's been on the podcast many times. She talked about feminine and masculine energy and leadership, which was, incredible. Then we went into breakout sessions that were, oh my goodness, so powerful. So we had morning and afternoon breakout sessions. Those breakout sessions included Monica McCoy, who's been on the podcast, who talked about your personal, treating your brand like a Fortune 100 company. We had Monica Bay, energy healer, who's been on the podcast, who had like that. If you have not listened to episode, I think it's 50 or 51, or maybe it was 51 and 52. I'll post them in the podcast notes. But Monica's session with me, Monica Bay's session with me that we recorded for the podcast was the most intimate and vulnerable that I've been on this podcast. She read me. And in her session, she read those women. It was powerful. She had crystals. It was not enough time for the transformation that was happening in that room. So we definitely want to bring her back next year, and we'll have to have like 2 hours with her. Like, it was amazing. We had Morgan Wider, who talked about the business of looking good and really shining outwardly in your appearance. We had, who am I forgetting? We had a panel, this great panel on managing motherhood and like being a leader as a mother, where we had Unica J, we had Agatha Shindu, we had, it was moderated by Patience Jackson, and we had the amazing Tiffany Dufu all on that panel, speaking and breathing life into that room of mothers who were figuring it out, how to be the best leader you can be as you're trying to be the best mother you can be. And then finally, we had Amber Wright, who was talking about how to really unmute your voice and own your voice and speak up in your life. So those were the breakout sessions. They were amazing. Each and every one of them got high ratings. We also had some larger sessions, keynotes. In addition to Ekene Onu, we had we had a fun session with Linda Clemens on mastering your body language, and we rounded it off with Cheryl Wood, who was talking about confidence and really making sure you're owning who you are and shining. And I have to tell you, I was overwhelmed by the feedback. I mean, it was the rating for the retreat was 4.9 out of 5. Okay, no speaker got less than 4.3 out of 5, with many of them receiving over 4.4 out of 5. The women who attended, like 100% of them said that they would recommend this retreat to other people. They're excited about the next one. By the end of the first day, I was told that I can't not have another one. So there will be a Beyond the Business Suit Retreat 2020. We're already starting to work on that. And what we heard from the women there is that there was true transformation experienced there. The women left different women. I still, to this day, have been running into people who were there who have shared their stories and testimonies about how they have evolved and how they're different. One of my chapter sorors, I saw her a few weeks ago, and she was saying that when she went to the retreat, She thought that, like, she was spent. She was spent. She was unhappy. She knew she needed something to help her. And while she was there, she realized that although she thought it was her job and the people around her that were making her miserable, she realized it was her, and that it was her that needed to change. She needed to change. And she said, coming out of the retreat, she was a different person going to work. And as a result, the people around her were different. Her team is higher functioning. She's happier. She's able to understand the aspects of her job that she actually really did like, but she couldn't even see because she was so miserable. And because she is a happier person, her team is happier and they're gelling better. All, she says, because she went to the retreat and experienced that experience. So yeah, it's been a lot. So there were two things that came out of the retreat that were clear to me. Three things that were clear to me. And two of the, actually, I shared all of these things with the retreat attendees. I had an impromptu call with them, video call with them about a month after the retreat. So all of you who are listening in right now or watching the video, hello. And I hope that you are continuing to do great and well. And can't wait to see you next time at the next retreat. But three things came out of it. One was that we need to have another one. And this, I can't guarantee y'all that we will have one every year, but there will at least be one in 2020. And we're looking at venues right now. We might go back to the same place we were. We are also looking at some other venues around as well, including in Florida, Texas, Arizona, and other places in Georgia. And so that's one. The feedback that we heard from those who attended in terms of things that we can improve upon are, one, more tissue. That there should be some tissue, maybe even in the gift bags. Also, that we need more time together, that a day and a half just wasn't enough time. So we're looking to have more like 2.5 to 3 days next time. And then also that the sessions should be longer. So especially certain sessions like Monica Bay's, that was an hour, that ended up going, I think, an hour and 20 minutes or an hour and a half, that could have easily been 2 hours. But even the keynote sessions could have been longer. So those are some of the changes that we will look to make next year. The second thing that was clear was that this community of women needed to happen. Like, this community, there was a community that was developed, and I felt a sense of responsibility to create a forum for them to connect with each other. And when I was sharing this with them a month after the retreat, I told them that, yeah, I'm starting to work on this. I've since realized the level of resources that are required to do something like this. And I intend on creating somewhat of a community for not only the retreat attendees, but other women in the Beyond the Business Suit audience, to connect with each other, to learn, to grow, to evolve, to transform. However, I realize that I don't have the resources right now to do that effectively. I want to make sure that we do it as right as possible coming out of the gate, and I'm just not ready to do that yet. So I'm hoping that in the coming months we'll be able to do that effectively, and at the very least, I do intend on having that be an outcome of the next retreat. And then finally, there was a group of women who attended who it was clear that they were called to do more. These were women who were either coaches already or doing something that was more aligned with their purpose and their gifts already, but tiptoeing, maybe not doing it fully or fully enough. There was also a group of women who were working in jobs that were no longer serving them, or that they had grown beyond, and they knew that they were called for something greater, or who were in general purpose driven, and they know that they are called to do more, and seeing not only me doing this faith walk and doing this work, but also seeing some of the speakers and facilitators and coaches who were at the Beyond the Business retreat. They saw themselves in those of us who were there, and they wanted to learn how to do more. So with that being said, I am so excited to announce that I am launching a mastermind and accelerator called the Beyond Mastermind and Accelerator. And this is a 6-month program that is geared toward women who feel called to do something more. They're called to do work that is leveraging their gifts, their experiences. They are driven by this purpose that has been placed on their hearts, and need help to accelerate and evolve that and just do it. This is going to include many different components. And first of all, in terms of the size, I don't know what the size is going to be yet. I know it will be less than 20 people, or fewer than 20 people. I would imagine it may even be less than or fewer than 10. I really want to get the right mix of people and make sure that the group that we have is one that can learn from each other too. So here's where some of my reading comes in. So I want to share with you some of the components of the Beyond Mastermind and Accelerator, which we are calling the BMA. So the Beyond Mastermind and Accelerator is designed to take you beyond your career and into your calling. And for some of the women who are a part of this, they may have already made that leap into their calling, but need some help to really, really get fully into it. So again, this is 6 months. We are going to launch it in September of this year, September 2019, and it's going to end at the Beyond the Business Suit Retreat 2020 and in March of 2020. And the key elements of this program include accountability. So each person who is a part of this will have an accountability partner. There will be an even number so that everyone has an accountability partner. These accountability partners will help them to fulfill the goals that they set out. In addition to that, there will be a journey map that they create in the beginning of the program, which will outline their roadmap and the goals that they want to achieve during this program. And although there will be work involved and we want to make progress, we also see the value in them connecting with themselves and having the right foundation so that they are not only doing, but being who they were created to be. There will also be deep dive sessions. So throughout the program, we will have virtual sessions and some in-person sessions where we will come together. So in the beginning of the program, we will have a kickoff, which is kind of a grounding session, where we will come together in Atlanta for a day and set the stage and lay the groundwork for what is to come. From there, we will meet on a monthly basis and as a collective group. And in those sessions, we will have some sessions where we're hearing from either me or some of the folks in my tribe to guide and mentor and teach the cohort. And there will be other sessions where we will be doing a deep dive into each person in the cohort. So we will have moments within the entire or throughout the program where we will be focused on individuals. So each cohort will have a session where we're just talking about them. And everybody in the cohort and me, we will all be focused on their growth, giving them our feedback, our ideas, our energy to help them elevate and accelerate what they're called to do. There'll also be coaching throughout. So I will have 3 coaching sessions with each individual, one in the beginning of the program, one in the middle of the program, and one at the end of the program. And these coaching sessions will vary by person and they'll be tailored by person, but really to help them in their growth and development from the inside out. There'll also be exposure. So some of the members of the cohort will be featured on future episodes of the Beyond the Business Suit podcast. They will also have the opportunity to be a part of the program at the Beyond the Business Suit retreat. So without knowing their backgrounds, their callings, it could vary from if there's room and there's an opportunity to lead sessions or to be on a panel to talk about their experience and their growth and evolution. So, and also at the Beyond the Business Suit retreat will be our final session as a cohort. So there'll be special sessions just for the BMA program, and we'll round out that program, round out our time together while we're at the retreat. So again, who is this for? This is for women who feel called to do or be more in life by way of their profession or vocation. And for some people, it means they are already doing this on the side and they need to lay the groundwork to make that leap. For others, maybe they've already done that leap or made that leap. They just need to do more. For others, it may be that they know they're called to do more, but they need clarity as to what that is for them. So, how can you be a part of it? Well, in order to be a part of this, you have to apply. So if you go right now to the URL is KaileiCarr.com/BMA. KaileiCarr.com/BMA, or you can go to KaileiCarr.com/episode 159, which is this episode. Or you can just go to beyondthebusinesssuit.com and find the post for this. In this post for this episode or at KaileiCarr.com/BMA, you will find a link to the application. You'll find more information about the BMA. And so in order to apply, you have to fill out the application. You have to have an interview with me. So we'll have a one-on-one conversation to hear, so that I can hear more about you. You can ask questions to me and I can make sure that I know enough about you to create the right composition of the cohort. And then finally, pay. So if you are accepted into the program is $3,000 or $500 a month. That's it. And that not only includes being a part of the program, getting this special and significant growth and development. It also includes the coaching from me. It also includes a ticket or a registration for the Beyond the Business Suit retreat. So this is a huge value to you, honestly, priceless value to you. But again, I want to make sure that we have the right group of people. So I would love to work with any of you who this, in your heart, your soul, your gut, if this is calling you, if this is saying, this is for me, please apply. Please apply. I know that a part of my calling is to help people birth their callings. One of the women who went through one of my leadership programs called me the destiny doula and the miracle what was it? The miracle midwife and destiny doula. And I was honored by those titles. And I also feel like that's a part of what I'm being called to do, is to help women connect with themselves, connect with their purposes, and birth those purposes in the way that they were created. So as I'm going to continue in this faith walk for all of you, I hope to have the opportunity to work with more of you so that you can become the women you were created to be and the leaders you were created to be. Now, what does that mean for the Beyond the Business Suit podcast? in this next season, so in season 4, I haven't started season 4 yet. I don't know what it's going to consist of, but what I do know is that I am truly being called to go deeper, to leverage my strengths, my intuition, my consciousness, to elevate the consciousness of our leaders, our organizations, our people, to serve more women, to serve more Black women, to serve more women of color, to serve more organizations so that they know how to create environments that are not only inclusive but more conscious. This area of conscious leadership is one that I'm still understanding, and I'm feeling called to do more of. I don't know what that looks like, but again, I'm trying to be obedient in this evolution that I'm going through. And as a result, I'm moving away from working one-on-one with clients on in areas of, say, personal branding and even executive presence to a certain extent. I will still do that on a group basis, on a speaking basis, on a workshop basis, and call on and leverage elements of that. But one-on-one, probably not as much. I will still do some one-on-one coaching at a limited capacity, because my time cannot be expanded. So I'm being really cognizant on how I'm growing, how I'm leveraging, and I am continuing to work on concepts. I'm working on a book. I'm working on a TV show. I'm working on some more programs to bring to organizations to elevate the consciousness and evolve and develop more women from the inside out. So anyway, that was a lot. I hope that wasn't all over the place. I was talking stream of consciousness. But I am so thankful to each and every one of you who listen to this podcast. I'm so thankful for everyone who has been called to listen to me, and who has learned something from this podcast, from the retreat, from anything that I've done or said, who had the people who have brought me into their organizations to speak to their organizations. I've had, gosh, I think I haven't even counted, maybe 10 speaking engagements this year alone, the first half of this year, leading workshops, keynote speeches, leading sessions with people. So if this is something that you think, if you think it would be valuable to bring me into your organization, I would love to do that. And you can always reach out to me at Kailei Carr at groupasbury.com. You can even see some of my, some of the workshops that I lead on groupasbury.com. And again, let me spell, because I have a lot of vowels in my name. So Kaileicarr, is Kailei Carr. And then Group Asbury is GROUPASBURY.com. So I hope to get your applications. Oh, I didn't tell you what the deadline is. The deadline for applications for the BMA, the Beyond Mastermind and Accelerator, is July 26th. So you have until the 26th, or until we reach 25 applications. I am only accepting the first 25 applications. I honestly don't have time to read more than that. So get in there quickly. Don't delay. If you're being called to this, do this now. And I hope to work with you. And with that being said, I'm going to close out this last episode of the season. And I believe we will be back in your podcast app by October at the latest. We'll be turning 5 in September. But who knows? I might drop in your feed with some bonus episodes if I'm called to do that. So make sure that you subscribe to Beyond the Business Suit on Apple Podcast or wherever you find your podcasts. And if you are not already a part of my my list. You can go to beyondthebusinesssuit.com to join my list. You can see where you can sign up there. If you want to make sure that you are on the list and hear about the Beyond the Business Suit retreat when it launches. So we're already starting on that. We will likely be launching the registration for that within the next few months. So you can go to beyondthebusinesssuit.com/retreat for that information. And let me tell you, with the retreat, we are only accepting 100 people. When we first launched the retreat, I was thinking we would have 150 to 200 people. We had 77. At first, I was disappointed. Then I realized it couldn't have been any more than that for the first time. It was too much of an intimate experience. And honestly, I don't want it to be super big, at least not for this next one. We will only be having no more than 100 people. That's it. And I can tell you right now, I already have companies interested in sending more of their folks. With the BMA, those are secured spots with my, and the 100 people also includes my team. So at least part of the team. So you will not want to delay on getting your ticket and registration when we launch that. So if that launches before the next season of Beyond the Business Suit starts, then I will absolutely have a bonus episode to announce that so that you don't miss out on that. So thank you for listening. I so appreciate you, and I will see you next time, next season. And in the meantime, I dare you to be great today.